All right. I'm over the moon excited to have this conversation with Lulu on my 200th episode.
Yeah.
I know, right? Crazy, 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 crazy. So, this is episode 200, and I thought it would be fun to do like a Where Are They Now podcast. And you were my very first client interview, my very first client success story that I had on the podcast way back in 2020. I think it was episode number 5.
Oh, yeah.
And so here we are, episode 200, which is like almost 3 years later.
Wow.
And it's been that long since we've coached. I thought it would be fun to just like, I've seen you like on social media and we've like exchanged messages here and there, but we have not talked.
I
We haven't like
know.
had a conversation. So I'm dying to know how you're doing, what's going on, what's been happening since we were coaching. So let's do this. You introduce yourself first and let's just go from there. We're just going to let it flow. Let it flow.
Okay. Well, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Lusharn Colvin.
AKA Lulu.
AKA Lulu. People call me Lulu. People here at home call me Sean, short for Lusharn. So, I take it all. So it's okay. So a little bit about me. I'm an RN, a registered nurse. I'm in administration. I'm in psych and mental health now. I just graduated, got my BSN in nursing, summa
Oh,
cum laude. I
good.
did that. Yep. And so I'm on
Okay.
to going for my doctorate for nurse practitioner.
You
And
are?
yep.
See, this is, y'all, let's just get ready. This is how the whole conversation is going to be. Oh, that's so good. Okay, keep going.
Yep.
Keep
And
going.
so I lived in New Jersey for 21 years. So I moved back home 3 years ago here in Alabama with my mom and my brother. So, it's a different, type of living, but I'm settled and grounded and everything. So I'm enjoying being home now, and I'm enjoying being on your podcast.
Yeah, I remember when you made that move. So when we started coaching together,
Oh,
you were in New Jersey, you were working as an RN,
yes.
and you got the job and you had to sell your house real quick and find a place to live and do
Yes.
all the things,
Yes. And
moving out
all
of
of
state.
that, and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
I was still on the weight loss journey, because that whole process could have been enough to where, you could start back eating crazy and gaining a whole bunch of weight. But thank God I had Jennifer Dent Brown that whole process, and kept me from, packing on the pounds, and helped me with the mindful, eating habits and everything. So it was great. She got me through
Okay,
it.
so I know everybody wants to know 3 years later, did you keep the weight off?
Oh, oh my goodness. Let me tell you. I believe
Tell us the journey.
I'm about to tell you. So first, let me just start when I first met Jennifer, and she explained to me about how this program went. So at first I was a little skeptic, because I'm like, you're going to sit here and tell me that all I have to do to lose weight is to think about what I'm thinking. I don't know. Let's see. Well, let's see how this is going to work. I was so skeptical. And I have to tell you that with the tools that I've learned from Jennifer, I've kept off my weight. And sometimes, you know how it is over the years, you go through seasons, where
Mhm.
your weight fluctuates. It goes up, it goes down, it goes up and it goes down. But the good thing about this program, that she gave me the tools to learn how to really what I'm thinking about, because when you're stressed and you're going through those different seasons, like when I was moving, I think that what helped me was to put everything down on paper, what I was thinking and how I can change those thinking habits. And what happened is, when I changed those habits of thinking, it actually helped me to make better choices, if that makes any sense,
To me, it 100% does.
Yeah. So
That's why we do
I
this work.
mean,
Yeah.
and it was great, because actually when I started with Jennifer in 2020, it's because that's when COVID hit. I actually got COVID, I think. Was it a
Hmm.
month after I started working with you, I
You were
think?
the first person that I knew personally that got sick with COVID. I was like, oh my
I
goodness.
know.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were my thoughts, because that was early COVID. Nobody knew about it. People were, either dying or really sick with it. I could have just
Mhm.
given up. Jennifer wouldn't let me give up. And being that COVID was there, everybody was home. So I was just journaling everything. I was writing everything down, and I was like doing everything to change my thoughts through this and challenge me and motivate me. And the funny thing about it is that when COVID came around, people were at home. They weren't going anywhere. People were eating and gaining weight and doing all the things. And I remember I had a lot of friends because I think just in 2020 alone or COVID, I think I lost my first 20 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And people were looking at me like, how are you doing this? We're sitting at home and eating and watching movies. How are you losing all this weight, COVID? And so her name is Jennifer Dent Brown. It's called Stop Dying Forever.
Because you
So,
sent me, I think you sent me Lavette.
yep.
Came through you.
Yep,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Yeah, it was a couple people, my cousin Karen, and a couple people. I think you had a counseling session with my best friend. So it was a couple of people.
Oh
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes. How's she doing?
She's doing really well. She's doing really,
Good,
really well, really well.
good. Tell her I said hello.
I will, I will. So, yeah, so I would have to say that, this is that it was actually a blessing for me. It showed me how to really think about my thoughts, and also it pushed me away from what I used to do years ago. I mean, I did everything from Weight Watchers to LA weight loss to paying all these different personal trainers, all this wads of money, and just all these different things I was doing that wasn't working. It may have worked a little bit, but the weight came back
Hmm.
and it was just frustrating. So I do believe that after her program, I really feel like I don't have to struggle with that anymore. I'm off the struggle bus.
Yes, hey, she's off the struggle
Off the
bus. She's
struggle
reached
bus.
food freedom.
It
Good.
is. And so, it's really good. And I know that life happens. Life is lifing. And,
Hmm.
like I said, weight may fluctuate or whatever, but at least I have the tools to know what I need to do to get back on track. And now since, I've been with Jennifer, I used to tell Jennifer, I'm not going to work out because I'm afraid I'm going to put on muscle and gain all this weight. Do you remember
Okay,
that?
let me just pause right there. I just want to share before we get into the workout because I've seen your workout photos on social media, and you look amazing. But I remember when we first started working together, I gave you permission to stop working out.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Because you had this like love hate relationship with exercise. Actually, it wasn't even a love relationship. It was just a hate relationship. And
Yeah.
you would exercise because you were trying to like atone for your eating sins.
Right.
I just remember you were like, but I got to get to the gym. And it was this big struggle and like a big stress for you to try to work out. So I was like, you know what? Stop working out. Let's just focus on your relationship with food, and understanding all the reasons why you're eating, what you're eating. Like, let's just focus there first.
Yeah.
And then I was like, your body will want to eventually get back into working out
Yep.
because our bodies were made to move. And
Mm-hmm.
so you just needed like the mental break
Yeah.
to separate yourself from the working out. And then I also, there's another story. I just remember it was the first week or the first 2 weeks. And you decided, I was like, stop eating the low fat, all the stuff you're eating low fat
Fat free.
cheese,
I was a
oh,
fat
fat
free
free
freak.
butter, and all the fake foods. I was like, stop eating that. And I remember you were so excited because you started eating avocado and bacon
Ooh, yes. Oh, the
breakfast.
egg. It was
Yeah, and
wonderful.
you lost a bunch of weight like in the first 2 weeks. You lost almost 10 pounds. I remember very
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Yeah, yeah, it was. I
You were
mean,
so
it
excited.
was a freeing experience, and I think in your program, it's freedom. I really do believe that's a part of the program. Is freedom to do those things. I hadn't eaten like real butter or like avocados because I used to be afraid to eat anything with fat, not knowing that there are
Hmm.
some good fats. Avocado is a good fat. I can start cooking with olive oil. That's a good fat.
Hmm.
And then every now and then I had my bacon, it was okay, you know? Um, and so I was like, is this really real? I felt like, I think when I was in 2020, how old was I then? 40, I don't know, I'm 48 now. So I'm like, maybe like 45, something like that. I want to
Hmm.
say out of a decade when I used to kill myself going to the gym, hated it. I think that was the first time I felt free. I felt
Mm.
so free. And then I learned that everything that's fat free is not good anyway. So
Yes.
it's
So
not.
some things are just supposed to have fat in it. Sorry.
Exactly. Exactly. And so after, going through the program, I think it started last year. Then I said, you know what? I definitely want to do something with my body. I do want to tone. I do want to
Mhm.
tone. I want to look healthy. So that was
Tone.
last.
That's such an 80s term. I want to tone up.
I want to
Girl, no, I
tone.
just say you want to build some muscle.
Okay, yes, I wanted,
You
and
want
I
to be
have built some
strong.
muscle. I have built some
Yeah.
muscle. And so I started back and I said, you know what? I'm not going to make a story about what this weight is going to say. Lusharn, you know what your body's doing. You're
Hmm.
doing a lot of resistance along with cardio and everything. This is what's going to happen. So I did find a workout studio, that I really love. It's called F45.
Hmm.
I'm there like 5 or 6 days a week for
Okay. You must
45
really love it.
minutes.
Yeah, I've seen you do the videos with your coaches and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And let
That's
me tell
good.
you, they it's I want to say it sounds like similar to what you have, but they also teach us about not just mindful eatings, but about how you think about the scale and what you're doing.
Yes.
Because a lot of women, especially women, they're so afraid to do resistance and everything because they feel like, oh,
Mhm.
I'm gonna bulk up and things like, no, no,
That's
it's
why
not
they
gonna
say tone. They want to use words like, I just want to
happen.
tone up.
You want muscle mass. You
No,
muscle
you
mass is
want to
good.
pack on some muscles. Muscles
Yes.
actually help and support your physical and your
Right.
physiological
Right,
body.
exactly. So, I didn't make a story about it. So they have what they call an in-body scan there.
Mhm.
So, and it shows, they show you like what your resting metabolism rate is, and they show like what your percent body fat is and what your muscle mass is. So as time goes on, what they want to see the trend is you want to see your muscle mass go this way, and they want to see your
Yeah.
percent body fat loss go this way. But what they
Yeah. And
also
your weight could stay the same.
Yes, that right there. So
Hmm.
I said, LaShawn, don't make a story about it. This is what you're looking for. You want the muscle mass and you want to see a percent body fat go down. So I would say since
Hmm.
last year, January 2023, this is March of 2024, my percent body fat has gone down immensely, like this way. And I have put on,
Good.
I think when I started, I only had like 30 something percent muscle. Now I have 57% muscle.
Wow. Yes, Lulu. Yes. I can tell. I was like, you look amazing. And I'm so glad you mentioned this. I'm very familiar with F45. We have one near here, and the in-body scan. And one of the things that I like to coach my people who have lost their weight and all this, and they're like, but the number, and they gain a little bit back. They're so attached to the number. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, y'all know that's a vanity number, right? You know that's a vanity number.
Mm-hmm.
The goal weight,
Mm-hmm.
it's a vanity number because you think you're going to feel so good if you hit that number and stay at it. When you get to this point, when I call you're in the forever Club Lux, right? You've reached your
Mm-hmm.
forever weight. I want you to make sure you feel good. You
Mm-hmm.
feel good. Like, do you feel good? I had to coach another client, same thing. She lost her weight, 41 pounds, and now she's going to the gym, personal trainer, all the things.
Good for
And
her.
she's like, but I'm 7 pounds away from my lowest weight. And I'm like, but how do you feel? She's like, I feel good. I was like, do your clothes still fit? She's like, they fit great. And I said, what's the problem then? What's the problem? And she was same thing. She has got the in-body scan, and when we looked at her stats, she's gaining muscle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
It's
a it's it we y'all as a society, as women, we need to detach our emotions from the number on the scale.
yeah.
The goal the goal that we set, the weight loss goal that we set, is just for us to be working towards something, to know
Mm-hmm.
that we're making progress. We
Mm-hmm.
could use any other, like we could use body fat percentage, we could use measurements to track our
Mm-hmm.
progress, we could use, your neck size.
Yeah.
Like, there's so many things that we can use. Weight is just the easiest thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also it's the easiest thing to measure, but it's also, I think, the hardest for a lot of women to disassociate their feelings from the scale and from the number on the scale. And that's why I think it's so important.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, once you can get over the hump of like really seeing that number as neutral, it's like you're not scared of nothing. Like
Yeah.
nothing's going to bother you.
Mm-hmm.
It is a process. I remember you were one. You used to do
I
all
was
the little
one.
tricks to like
Oh, I was
manipulate the number on the
awful.
scale
Oh,
and not drink water until 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
oh my gosh, you remember that? That was,
Yes.
oh my gosh. So let me tell you, I was incorporating intermittent fasting because intermittent fasting is a very good thing. It really helps with
Mm-hmm.
inflammation and you feel even better. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so
Says the registered nurse.
I was So I was just so scared about that number. I didn't want to get on it. So I was like, you know what? And I'm not going to drink anything. I'm not going to whatever till I get on the scale before I eat. And I'm not going to drink any water. I'm like, and so Jennifer said, you're going till 12 o'clock or whatever. I'm drinking any water. I was like, I didn't want the scale to say anything. And like now when I think about it, I'm like, what were you thinking?
Mm-hmm. Because you were focused, your self-worth was tied to that number on the scale.
It was. It was. It was.
Which is, this is why we go through the coaching process, right? Which is
Yeah.
totally normal for where you were in your journey. And
Yeah.
this is why we do this coaching.
Yeah. Absolutely. And so
So
it's
you have
just
been
been
emancipated from the number.
I've been free and emancipated from the number. That number means nothing because now I know what's behind the number.
Yeah. And you packed on how much muscle?
Oh gosh, I started at what was it 36% muscle or something like that. And I'm up to 57% muscle now.
That's amazing. That's so good.
Yeah.
So good. And it's important because you're almost 50,
Yeah.
right? As we age, we lose muscle.
Yep.
And it's harder for us to maintain muscle. So it's really, really great that and I've seen Lavette doing same thing at
Yes.
45,
Yes.
building that muscle because it's really, really good.
Yeah, it is. It is. I love it because it also too, like for me, I think because I hated working out because it was the why behind why I was going to the gym and it made me hated it. It made me hate going to the gym because my
Mm-hmm.
whole thing of going to the gym was losing weight, losing weight, losing weight. I got to look this way. I got to look that way. Cause like you said, my identity was tied to how I looked and that number on the scale. Therefore, I was forcing myself to go work out and I hated it. And that's what happens when you try to put yourself on a diet. You're going to hate it, because you're so tied to this is what, the way I look is tied to my identity and you're going to hate restricting yourself. Because
Yeah.
all of that is tied to now when I go to F45, it's like I don't even force it, man. I look forward to it. I've been there a year and like 3 months now and love
Good.
it. I don't
Yeah.
feel forced.
Listen, somebody's listening to this podcast right now and they're like Googling F45 real quick.
Google
They're like,
it.
if I go to this 5 days a week, I'm going to lose weight. Before they do that, though, I want you to just think about it.
Yeah.
Think about your journey of where you've been to where you are now. You didn't just walk into F45 the way you were in 2020 when we met and
Mm-mm.
lost a whole bunch of weight and
No.
gained 20 pounds of muscle, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have completely changed your relationship with food and your emotional eating, right? So you're not
Yeah.
doing as much emotional eating because you're so much more aware of what
Mm-hmm.
you're thinking and how you're eating. Now, are you
Mm-hmm.
perfect? No. Am I
No.
perfect? No. We're all
No.
a work in progress. But this is our journey,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're always on on another level to up level our health,
Yeah.
no matter where
Absolutely.
you are. So this is
Absolutely.
good. So tell us about the transition when you decided, okay, I'm going to work out. Like, what was that like for you?
Um, at first it was a little scary, because I said to myself, and I was looking at myself, I'm like, okay, I lost this weight, but I could tell like certain things were, I don't want to say hanging off of me, but I'm like, I feel like I need to do something different. My body was asking me for more, but it wasn't nothing with the eating. It was just more so of my body. So
Mm-hmm.
I think what seeing my other friends, like Lavette was one of them. Her coach, Coach Craig, I watched him and some of my other friends. So I was asking them about it, and so I was listening to the results they were getting. So I had to coach myself and say, LaSharn, please, you're going to have to emotionally detach yourself from that number, because when you start working out, this is what you're going to see, but it's going to be good. It's going to be even better. And another thing that I had to do, this was the transition before I even started in my mind. LaSharn, your body is your body. You cannot compare yourself to what everybody looks like. You have to get to
Mm-hmm.
know your body, okay? And my body is, I don't say I'm not meant to be a size 0 or whatever it is. I know what my
So you
DNA is.
got
You know, I
curves.
have curves.
Yes.
I have good
Yes, yes,
curves.
yes.
So,
Yes.
so
Curves.
yes, yes. So it was a mind like transition before I even started working out, because I wanted to have realistic expectations, because I
But
believe.
notice how you said, yeah, I'm gonna cut you off. But notice how you said I had to coach myself. You knew how to do that.
Yep.
You knew how to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you didn't know how to do that, you would have repeated the same cycle that you
Yeah.
went through before with like, oh, I gotta work out, I gotta work out, I gotta work out, and still
Mm-hmm.
be so disconnected, so unhappy with your body, so
Mm-hmm.
like trying to do all of these workouts to change my appearance so I can feel better versus I can feel good right now the way that I am
Mm-hmm.
at this time on the scale, and I can go in and I can work out and
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
it'll be
Absolutely.
okay.
Absolutely.
That's the difference. That is the
Yeah.
difference, y'all. That
Mm-hmm.
is the
That's
difference.
the
Good.
difference. That's the difference. So, I did, and I just love how everything just came out, because at first the coach there was like, listen, he's like, I don't know what you're used to. He said, but this is what we use. We use the in-body scan. This is how many times we get on it. It's not a lot, because we want to be able to see a trend. They explained what it was. So I said, okay. So that added to my coaching. So I wanted to have, like I said, realistic expectations. So, and the more I started putting up those videos that you were seeing, and I was putting like before and after pictures together after 6 months and 8 months, and I'm like, okay, I'm starting to see some things here. And even
Mm-hmm.
my friend who's a coach at F45 New Jersey, he said he could see it. He said, I can see that. I was like, okay. And then I started to notice little things. My face got smaller, and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And I started seeing, like definition here and there. And I just felt like fit. So I'm like, man, I was like, is this what I was missing years ago?
Yeah. So feeling fit is part of your identity now,
Right, it is. It is. And
right?
another expectation I had to tell myself and get used to is that there's no such thing as perfection.
Ooh, say it again, Lulu. Say it
Mm.
again.
There's no such thing as perfection, people. So if
Because
you think,
you were one of my diehard perfectionists. Am I doing it right?
ooh,
Did I
I was
do this right?
horrible. I was so horrible. And it's like, it's gonna happen. You're gonna have a wedding that you're gonna go to, whatever. And even then, like decide what you're gonna do, but it's no such thing as perfection. You know what it is? It's consistency.
Yes. Do have to say, Lulu, you were very consistent with your coaching. Like you showed up every single week, even if you were like, I don't know what's going on, and you were just like, this happened and this happened and this happened. You were very consistent in showing up for yourself.
Thank you. Yeah,
So
I mean,
hats off to you. I want you to acknowledge that the consistency doesn't just like drop out of the air because you had a lot going on, even when you were
woo,
moving. Uh,
yes,
you
yes.
were like transitioning to living back with your mom. You were like
Hmm.
I remember you were working on the road. Your first job,
Yeah.
you were like a mobile nurse or something.
Yes, yes. That's when I first started with you in New Jersey.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was so
yeah.
much. It's so much
You had some
transition, and
drama
what
at
I
the job.
yeah. And I used to always tell myself, like, Lord, please slow all this stuff down for me, because we always think that we're gonna start when this slows down, when this slows down, whatever. Life usually doesn't slow down like that. I mean, you have to make your own choices of just doing it anyway,
Mm-hmm.
because
Mm-hmm.
depending on where you are, things are going to continue to happen. A good example is somebody that says, "Well, I don't think I should get married yet because I got to make sure I got to save all this money. I got this got to be perfect and that has to be perfect." Listen, even when you get married, things are going to change. So you
Absolutely.
move with the change, you know?
Absolutely. I just,
So
yeah, go ahead.
so, even as a single person, with me moving and going into a new job, and even now, there's another season that has happened. So I just got my own place, my own apartment. So I've moved
Okay, good.
last month.
Good.
And I said, I'm
Mm-hmm.
only 15 minutes away from my mom, but I realized
Good.
with some things I was seeing, because, it's good to help take care of your family, but you need that self-care too. I
Yeah.
realized that I needed my own space. But
Yeah.
I'm not far to where I can always come back and forth to my mom's house to check on her. I've already got home health aides in here with
You're
her.
such a good daughter. You take such good care of your mom. Such good care. Yeah.
So that was a whole nother change. But guess what? I never missed a day of going to F45. I still journal through the whole, everything,
Mm-hmm.
all the things.
And I want you to really acknowledge that, because now I'm remembering now you were working night shifts and you would come home and you would like get on a coaching call. Like, you were determined to improve yourself and do your personal development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Period. You were
Yeah.
like, I'm down. This is what's happening. The stuff is at the job was happening, and then there were relationships were happening.
Yes.
Travel, like
Yes.
we coach on a lot of different things, a lot of
Yeah.
different circumstances. And
Mm-hmm.
one thing I do have to say that you are very, very, very consistent.
Thank you so much. I think that's the reason why for your program in the beginning, you always make us write down what our why is. So, and
Mm-hmm.
I felt like through the program, now I know why you want us to know what our why is, because no matter what's going to happen in your life, you have to remember what your why is and go back to it. Because if you don't know
Mm-hmm.
what your why is, you're going to give up, you know?
Mm-hmm. You're
So,
gonna quit.
yeah,
First thing that happens, you're gonna be like, oh, I'll do it later.
yeah.
I'll go
Mm-hmm.
later.
Yeah. Exactly. So I really every single time, if something is not where I want it to be or whatever, I take a step back. I'm like, okay, what is my why? I like Lusharn, think
Mm-hmm.
about it, think
Yeah.
about your why. So, and the more you get into that habit, you'll get in the habit of saying, hey, you know what? Wait, let me stop, let me pause. So it's been great, and it is amazing how you function in life, and how you operate in your thinking. Your thinking affects everything. It
Oh,
affects
doesn't it?
everything. And
Yeah.
it's like I told some people in my gym F45 that I go to, we talk and everything. I was like, whatever's going on in your mind, your physical is going to follow.
Mm. Say
Yeah.
it again. Say it again for the people in the
Whatever is
back. Feels
going
so
on in
good.
your mind, your physical is going to follow. It's true.
Yes. So give an example, right? Both ways. Give an example.
So I would say a good example is, okay, say for instance, I'll use one. Um, there was a test I had to take. I don't know if that was for my boards or was another one. But anyway, I didn't do well on that test. Okay. I was upset. I was crying and all the things or whatever. And so guess what I did? I resorted to binging and eating, thinking it was going to make me
Mm.
feel better and all of that.
Hmm.
And next thing you know, the weight started to pack on, and I was like, and I looked around like, how did I get here? This is before I started with you, by the way. And I'm like looking around like, how did I get here? And when I went through your program, I was like, when I look back at those things, I'm like, this is how I got here, because I never paused and really took time at what I was thinking. I was
You
thinking
didn't.
about all type of stuff. I'm like, I'm a failure, all of this. I was thinking all of that.
Yeah, girl, that little voice in our head can be nasty sometimes, and it's just subconscious.
Yeah.
We don't even we're not even aware that we're speaking to ourselves in that way, and the self-judgment and the
Yeah.
guilt and the shame, but you just didn't have the tools yet.
Yeah.
Once you got the tools and
Yeah.
your awareness started to open up of like,
Right.
oh, this is how
Right.
I'm treating myself right
Yeah, exactly. And so,
now. Mm-hmm.
as I got used to that, and any thoughts because those thoughts are probably still going to come in your mind, but you have the tools to revert it and
Yeah.
redirect those thoughts. Like if I say to myself now I'm a failure, I know that's a lie. You know what it is? I'm human.
Yeah. Oh, yes, Lulu. Yes, yes, yes.
I'm human, you know. So what am I going to
Yeah.
do about this? So, you know, hey,
Mhm.
it's wonderful because we all have the power of change. You have the power to change.
Make me have a moment. I'm just having like a little outer body coach moment. I just am so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you for being my coach and my friend.
I mean, you're always a superstar, right? You always had like the bubbly personality. You were always very focused, always very positive. But here, y'all may not have seen this side of Lulu. I did because I'm your coach.
Oh, sorry about that. Go ahead. Sorry. Oh, that was.
Who was that?
Oh no. Sorry about that.
I saw it because I'm your coach, but sometimes people who are super positive, it's really a mask to cover up like how they're
Yeah.
really feeling inside.
Yeah.
And when they're very much people pleasers, it's because they need the external validation from other people to feel good instead of finding it within themselves to feel good. So
Hmm.
I'm just overjoyed and super proud of you, but I'm not surprised to hear you talk about where you are right now, your transformation, and how you've like taken control of your brain
Hmm.
and made it work for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that that I found that you definitely have the power to change your thoughts. You know, so never let your thoughts take control of you. You have
Yeah.
control of your thoughts.
Oh, so good. So good. All right. I think we should end it there. I think that was amazing to catch up with you to see where you are. Congratulations on starting a doctoral program. That's badass. Amazing. When do you finish? When do you?
Well, I'm just getting started now, so so it'll
Okay.
probably be like another 2, 3 years, but that's all right. It's online, it's slow, I can take my
Yeah.
time and everything. So yeah,
Oh, we're
yeah.
gonna call you Dr. Lulu.
Party in the post, Dr. Lulu, party in the post.
Party in a post. Yeah, well, come back and visit us sometime.
I am, I am. Thank you
We'll do another
so
one.
much. Thank you, Jennifer, for being my friend and my coach. You changed my life,
Absolutely.
and you're continuously
Absolutely.
changing lives.
Oh, thank you. I receive that. I receive that. And I do what I do because of transformations like this. So good. So good. All right, my dear, I'll let you go. And everyone else, I will see you in the next episode.
Yes, thank you so much. And everybody, stop dieting forever. Get off the struggle bus.
There you go. Get off of the weight loss struggle bus. I love it. All right. I'll see you later.
Bye bye.